Hello and welcome to the dungeon. I'm your host Rob. In today's video we're going to be taking a look at Bard Rogue multi-class combinations because I received a request for this exact video. The person who requested asked that we focus mostly on the College of Glamour Bard because that's the one they were most interested in, and I think College of Glamour is an excellent choice for combining with Rogue, so I'm more than happy to oblige. However, I do think we'll at least mention some of the others because some of them have a lot to offer too. I wanted to say up front though, I think this is a very strong combination of classes because both tend to fill the like skill monkey type role, as people call it, where they just tend to be good at kind of everything, and you don't really have a lot of like weaknesses as far as like skill set. And the reason is because Bards and Rogues both have access to a fair number of skills, and B, expertise. The College of Lore, for example, gives you 3 bonus skills just from taking it. And Bards in general get expertise at level 3, while Rogues get it at level 1, meaning that by 4 levels, you could have expertise from both sources already. And then of course you got Jack of all trades as a Bard at level 2, and you're just kind of like good at every skill check you can think of, and even not bad at the ones you didn't think of because you have Jack of all trades. So I feel like it's a strong combination there. Number 2, they both tend to often have that like intrigue type aspect where they want to be like an infiltrator or an interrogator. They might have that kind of party face type role in a lot of cases. And I feel like combining the two really allows us to like take the best of both and help us to fill that role as well. The third reason is because Bards tend to be a little weak in damage. That's like the one weakness the Bards really have. But Rogues help to make up for that by having some nice sneak attack damage. Now obviously if you have a bunch of Bard levels, your sneak attack's never going to be as good as if you were a straight up Rogue all the way through. But it does help a lot, and I think that if you depending on what kind of breakdown you want to have, what kind of combination, I feel like they fit well. And then adding the pure spellcaster progression of the Bard to the Rogue is really nice as well. Like I already feel that Arcane Trickster is one of the best Rogue subclasses, and that's with the Arcane Trickster being a 1/3 caster with very limited spell choices because you're mostly limited to 2 schools of magic and your progression is very slow. And I still think they're one of the best choices. So combining that with the full caster aspect of the Bard, and then maybe even magical secrets potentially to just help flush out and pick some of the best spells from other schools, you really have the potential there to kind of have it all. And that's one thing I kind of like about this combination. So I want to spend most of the time talking about some of the specifics of the different subclasses, but I wanted to go over just like the main core attributes of both classes. And I'm mostly going to be focusing on the first 6 or 7 levels. I think that, obviously you could make a 17th level Rogue and take 3 levels of Bard just for the subclass and Jack of all trades, and I think that's going to be perfectly viable. But if I try to do a breakdown on every single possible combination, this video is going to be 12 hours long and nobody will want to watch it. And I will not want to record it. So I'm going to give some different ideas. But again, these are just my ideas. There's many, many ways that one can go about this. I think almost any of the subclasses work quite well, actually. I do want to give a special shout out, though, to the Swashbuckler Rogue subclass. Mostly because they have a level 3 ability called Roguish Audacity, which allows you to add your charisma bonus to your initiative. And they also have some nice mobility type of things. So if you wanted to be that like skirmisher where you're up front, but you're not tanking, right? You're just running in, hitting somebody, getting in some sneak attack damage, using your cunning action to help you avoid getting hit. Maybe you're going to disengage and get out. Maybe you're going to, whatever else. I think that it's a really strong combination. And because we're going to have decent charisma as a Bard as well, then adding your charisma to your initiative is a nice bonus. So if we look at just the Rogue base abilities over those first 7 or 8 levels or so. Level 1 you have sneak attack, of course, of 1d6, and then it goes up by an extra die 6 every 2 Rogue levels, so it goes up at 3, 5, etc. We also have expertise already right at level 1. Level 2 you have cunning action already. Level 3, you've got your subclass ability and an ability score increase. At level 4, level 5, you have uncanny dodge. Level 6, you have another subclass ability. And at level 7, you have evasion. So just in those early levels there, you've got the nice damage of your sneak attack. You've got the expertise to help you kind of be that like skill monkey type role. You've got some nice defensive abilities like uncanny dodge and evasion to help offset damage you might be taking. And then you've got cunning action, which is really, you're just like, whatever you need on that round, that's what cunning action is for. Maybe you needed some extra movement, maybe you needed to disengage. Whatever it was, cunning action is there to supply you with that. And that's just a really nice kit already. And then if we look at the Bard, obviously you've got your Bard spells starting right at level 1 and progressing as a full spellcaster all the way throughout your career. You've got Bardic Inspiration. Level 2 you have Jack of all trades already and Song of Rest. Level 3 you've got your subclass ability and expertise. Level 4 you've got your ability score increase or a feat. Level 5 you have Font of Inspiration. Level 6 you have Counter Charm and your subclass ability. And then, you don't really get much between 7 and 9. You get better spell progression, of course. But at 10, if you go high enough, you'll have another expertise and magical secrets, which is really why I decided to mention the level 10 abilities for bards. Because magical secrets are awesome. So, just without subclasses, you already have a pretty nice combination of things. But then we start looking at the actual subclasses. And I think before we start going specifically into College of Whispers, I think there's really there's one thing you have to ask yourself. Do I want extra attack or not? And I think not is very viable, by the way. Rogues don't have extra attack. They just do all their damage from one strong, concentrated hit. And there's nothing preventing you from just going all in on that and being more of the sneaky damage support type of guy, and then also being a strong caster. But if you do want extra attack, you're really going to be limited to only 2, which is the College of Valor and the College of Swords. And I think there's advantages and disadvantages to both. College of Valor gives you better armor options. You might have a shield. It gives you all the weapon proficiencies. If you're going to be using a ranged weapon, I think College of Valor is going to be the better choice. But College of College of Swords gives you the Blade Flourish abilities, which can be pretty nice depending, It gives you a fighting style, and yeah, you've only got 2 to choose from. But still, it's better than nothing. The main thing is, though, I feel like overall, College of Valor might be slightly stronger and not as a multi-class, just in general. But it's only by the slightest of abilities. And it's mostly because they have the better armor and weapon options. However, I don't know that you really need that in this case. Because if I'm going to have a high dex, maybe I'm even concentrating on dex. Maybe charisma is my secondary stat, and I'm going mostly with dex, right? Then medium armor isn't really as helpful. And yeah, you can take the feat to help, give you a +3 bonus from your dex. But even still, now I have to use a feat on it, and it's still not, what it could have been. So I feel like I might as well just go light armor in that case and go with the Blade Flourishes. And I feel like that's a pretty strong option. So no matter how you wanted to do it, those are both pretty good. Granted, you could just go Valor, go all the way to 10, take one of your magical secrets as being Swift Quiver and try to make an archer. That's actually really solid at high levels. The problem is that, that's a lot of levels to go without having Swift Quiver. And now it's going to be even longer because you're multi-classed with Rogue. So I don't think that's really the strongest build. I'm not going to waste a lot of time on it. Just, there's lots of options. However, if we look at the College of Whispers specifically, I think this class really excels in 2 different areas. Number 1, it's actually really good in combat. Number 2, it's really good, really good as an infiltrator. And combined with, like assassin or spy or any of those type of rogue subclasses, you've got a nice combination going here. So what makes it so good at this? Level 3, you get Psychic Blades. So I'm just going to read it really quickly. When you hit a creature with a weapon attack, you can expend 1 use of your Bardic Inspiration to deal an extra 2d6 psychic damage to that target. You can do so only once per round and on your turn. So if you get an opportunity attack, you could attack, add your sneak attack dice to it maybe, but you're not going to be able to use your Bardic Inspiration to do Psychic Blade damage, right? It's only on your turn. The psychic damage increases when you reach certain levels in this class, increasing to 3d6 at 5th, 5d6 at 10th, and 8d6 at 15th. Now I just want to point out that's basically the same as your sneak attack damage. So before people were like, wait, this takes a Bardic Inspiration. Yeah, I know, it's not as good as sneak attack, because sneak attack doesn't require any sort of resource to use. You're not going to run out of sneak attacks. As long as you have combats and you can meet the conditions, in other words, not have disadvantage and have an ally within 5 feet probably, or whatever else you need, then you're going to be able to sneak attack, you know? And if you have 100 combats in a day, you can sneak attack 100 times per, well, however many rounds of combat. Probably not 100 combats. 100 rounds of combat is what I was thinking. And even that's a lot. But you know what I'm saying. Point is, you're not going to be able to do that with the Bard. But it is a pretty nice complement where, you know, if you're adding a bunch of Bard levels to Rogue, this does help to compensate for some of those missing sneak attack die that you would have otherwise had if you went straight Rogue. And if you're Rogue focused, I feel like that's not bad. You know, you're grabbing like Jack of all trades, you're getting a bit of extra dice, it helps out. If you're mostly Bard and you're adding in some Rogue levels and you're more focused on the Bard stuff, then this is still pretty nice, because it means that if you get, you know, like, let's say you score a crit, you could say, yeah, I'm going to use a Bardic Inspiration. And now you're doubling up all those Bardic Inspiration die of damage, and you're doubling your sneak attack. And it's still pretty good. I feel like it's a good combination. You also get Words of Terror. Unfortunately, this one, like, it might be useful for like interrogation type scenarios. The problem is that it takes a minute to use. You have to be alone with the subject. It's out of, you know, it can't be used in combat. If you or the creature or your allies attack the creature, it ends. If it witnesses its allies being attacked or damaged, it ends. So, I mean, if you're in a one-on-one scene, you have to interrogate somebody, I feel like it could be pretty useful. I just don't know that that's the kind of thing that happens often enough that I'm really going to like this ability, right? I mean, I might use that once or twice in a campaign. I might use it never in a campaign, you know? So, it's not horrible for when the situation arises. It's just the situation is so rare. However, you do get level 6, you get Mantle of Whispers, and this one I do like quite a bit. Especially if you combine it with like an assassin or somebody else who's trying to do a lot of spy, sneaky stuff. This ability is amazing. So, when a humanoid dies within 30 feet of you, you can magically capture its shadow using your reaction. You retain this shadow until you use it or finish a long rest. You can use the shadow as an action. When you do so, it vanishes, magically transforming into a disguise that appears on you. You now look like the dead person, except healthy and alive. The disguise lasts for 1 hour or until you end it as a bonus action. When you're in the disguise, you gain access to all the information that the humanoid would freely share with its casual acquaintances. Such information includes general details on his background and personal life, but doesn't include secrets. The information is enough that you can pass yourself off as the person by drawing on his memories. That is pretty awesome if you're going to be infiltrating. Now, there are some problems. Another creature can see through the disguise by succeeding on a Wisdom Insight check, contested by your Charisma Deception check. You gain a +5 bonus to the check, and once you capture the shadow that's featured, you can't capture another one until you finish a long or short rest. However, you do get a +5 bonus to the check. Making a check is an action, so it's not like they can just look at you and see right through the disguise. They don't get an automatic roll or anything like that. They'd have to spend an action to try to see through your disguise. And you could take expertise on something like that, meaning that combined with the +5 bonus you already get, you're probably going to be really hard to see through. I really like that ability a lot. You also get Shadow Lore at 14. This is where you can like try to charm something. If you're not interested, you can read the description. It's way too long. I don't want to go through it. Again, it's another like out of combat one though, and I don't know that. Like if I go to 14 levels of Bard, then sure that's great, but I might not be going that high, right? I wanted to talk about the idea though of the Swashbuckler Rogue. I wanted to cover some of that stuff really quickly as well. I feel like some of the other ones have some nice abilities. Like Assassin's kind of a really good ability at level 3, a really good ability at 17. Not a lot of great stuff in between. But that actually makes Assassin a more tempting choice for me as a rogue subclass to take. Because I'm not going all the way from 3 to 17 as an Assassin probably, right? I'm taking a bunch of Bard levels, which means that I could take that 3 or 5 or 7 levels of Assassin Rogue, get the stuff that I wanted, and not have to worry about a lot of the other stuff, because now those are all Bard levels that I'm taking instead. And so I feel like Assassin still remains a pretty good choice. I really want to like the Mastermind. I think that in like a heavy role play like spy type campaign, I think it could be really fun. But a lot of this stuff requires like a minute of study or time to like set things up, and those kind of abilities can be a lot more difficult to use, so I don't want to waste a lot of time on that. I did say that I wanted to talk about Swashbucklers a bit more, and that's because Swashbuckler, if you wanted to play like just a melee Bard Rogue combo, I feel like Swashbuckler is a pretty solid choice. I already mentioned Rakish Audacity. I think I called it Roguish Audacity, sorry. But yeah, so you get Fancy Footwork at level 3, where you can slip away without reprisal during your turn. If you make a melee attack against a creature, that creature can't make opportunity attacks against you for the rest of your turn. Not bad. Rakish Audacity, that's where you get your Charisma bonus added to your initiative. But you also don't need a creature within 5 feet of you to make a sneak attack. So that is pretty handy, especially if you're getting a bunch of initiative bonus. You might be going way ahead of your allies. You could combine with, say, Alert plus a high dex, and now you've got a high, or at least a decent charisma, and you could have like a plus 13 or higher to your initiative. And, you know, if you don't have an ally up there, that kind of sucks, but now you don't have to worry about it. And, you know, with Cunning Action as well, you've got the mobility to, like, get in there, and you can attack the guy. Because of your Fancy Footwork, he's not going to get an opportunity to attack against you if you retreat. I mean, you don't even need to use your Cunning Action for the disengage, potentially. You could just use it for, like, more movement. And, you know, that's pretty awesome. You get Panache, which I don't think is a great ability. Basically, it tries to, like, make you tank, where, you know, you can use your Panache against somebody, and now they have disadvantage to attack anybody except for you. But it's not necessarily the worst, because it does give you the ability to be, like, kind of a support from the front line, which is something rogues don't normally have. And, you know, maybe your tank just got crit twice in the same round, and, you know, your Power Paladin now is down to like 9 hit points, and she just wants to heal herself with the lay hands. And you can be like, hey, I'm going to use Panache, take some attention on herself. If they try to attack any of my other allies, this guy's going to have disadvantage to hit them. And now she can, like, hopefully get herself healed up and back into the combat, and then she can go back to doing her job, and you can go back to, you know, sneak attacking, which is what you want to be doing anyways. Otherwise, you wouldn't have made a rogue. So I don't think it's a great ability, but it's not bad. As far as, like, actual, like, breakdowns and stuff, I feel like, I feel like I just closed the page. There we go. I feel like there's a lot of great combinations. There's really, like, no right or wrong way to do it. I would just say, like, take the abilities you want and then figure out what those breakpoints are going to be. But in general, I feel like just some general rules here. Like, College of Swords, level 6, and then however many levels of Rogue is a pretty good fit. That way you get your extra attack around, of course, right? I feel like the College of Whispers, 5 or 6, and then combined with an Arcane Trickster or a Swashbuckler, a pretty good fit. One thing that's nice about the Arcane Trickster is you could take something like Booming Blade as one of your cantrips. And now you've got your Booming Blade damage, plus your sneak attack damage, plus Psychic Blades damage, potentially. And it means that you're just going to be hitting, like, really, really hard. And even though you have one attack around, it's going to do a lot of damage. And, you know, so that's pretty nice. I also like the College of Whispers 6 combined with, like, Assassin or, you know, Spy, something along those kind of lines. Even Thief, not bad, you know, where you're going to be trying to, like, steal something, and now you can just, like, you know, kill somebody potentially if you're, like, of the not quite so good alignment. Or maybe you just witness somebody being killed, and now you're just an opportunist. You didn't have to do it yourself, opportunist. You didn't have to kill the person yourself. Although you did, of course, because you're a murder hobo. But that's a different issue. So I feel like that's a pretty good fit. The College of Valor 6 as well, for the same reason as College of Swords. If you wanted to get the extra attack, and, you know, the armor options is not bad. Maybe you wanted to go with a bow or something. Solid choice there. I do see a lot of people talk about, like, Swift Quiver as a magical secret at level 10 with College of Valor. I'm not saying that's bad. I'm just saying that that's a long way to go without having Swift Quiver. And if you're combining it with Rogue, that's an even longer time to go. And it just kind of feels like without the fighting style, like for the archery fighting style, you just kind of a really subpar archer for a long time. And, you know, you can still take Sharpshooter. It's not like you're going to be awful You can max your dex. You're still gonna be a pretty decent archer, but that is a long ways to go. At that point, you might as well have just played a ranger and gotten Swift Quiver. So I wouldn't really recommend it for a multi-class build. That's for sure. I already talked about, but the College of Swords 6 or higher combined with Swashbuckler is great. I feel like the College of Whispers combined with Swashbuckler is great. I feel like the Mastermind combined with College of Whispers in like a intrigue spy type campaign would be an excellent combo, and have just a lot of fun potential for like some cool role play and some sneaky stuff you could do. But I think most of them are pretty good. So I just want to cover like feats really quickly. I might as well throw in races as well, I guess. But the usual rules apply for races. A, play whatever race you want. But B, if you want to kind of min-max a little more, things like Halfling, especially Lightfoot Halfling, are going to be really good for this kind of build. Anything that's going to combine some, charisma with some dexterity, like a Drow Elf is going to be an excellent choice, for example. Variant Human, starting with a bonus feat is always good. The racial choices, they're pretty much always... There's usually a small list for any given class. It's just going to be a great combination. But, you can play like a Feral Tiefling or something even. That's not a bad choice. So, whatever. Feats, though, I'm going to mention it anyways. The Sentinel feat. Anytime I play a rogue, I'm looking to find ways to get sneak attack damage done that's not on my turn. And, yeah, Sentinel is a very tank style feat where you can lock a guy down and prevent him from reaching the back line. But it's also a nice way to get an extra attack on somebody else's turn and do more sneak attack. And yeah, you're combined with Bards, so you're not going to have as big of a sneak attack. But I still feel it's worth mentioning at least. I like the Magic Initiate feat a lot, because especially if I didn't go Arcane Trickster, I might want to have like Find Familiar, for example. If I'm doing a lot of spying, I can use my Familiar to do it, and I can just see through it, right? That is an excellent idea. Maybe I'm just going to be on the front line a lot as that light skirmisher type. And I feel like, hey, I could grab like Booming Blade or Green Flame Blade as a Magic Initiate, and then take a shield spell, for example. I think that's perfectly fine too. Nothing wrong with that. And then you don't have to go Arcane Trickster if that wasn't what you want to go, right? I feel like Warcaster, if I'm going to be concentrating on spells a lot, Warcaster is always solid. I also like the Defensive Duelist a little more in this case than most. Because, if I'm going to be on the front line a lot, I don't have like heavy armor. I probably don't even have medium armor in most cases. So, yeah, I've got uncanny dodge and stuff like that. But, I still don't have, like, I've got D8 hit points per level. That's not terrible, but I'm only ahead of Wizard and Sorcerer, so it's not the greatest either. So, and if I'm going Charisma and Dex, I might not have a huge Constitution score. So I feel like just adding a bit of toughness and a bit of resiliency to my character is probably not a bad call. Something like, if you want to be like doing a lot of scouting in dungeons and stuff, which this role might require you to do, then you might want something like the Observant feat. I think the Alert feat is great, of course. And Lucky's always a great feat, and it really helps to offset when bad things happen to your character, or you rolled a 1 on that like disable trap roll, and now you just took a scythe to the neck potentially. Rerolling that is pretty nice. So I don't think that I also think the mobile feat is a great feat for this kind of character as well, because we might be feeling that light skirmisher, just a darting around the battlefield type of guy, in which case, that's a good feat to have as well. So those are my main thoughts on the video. To sum things up, I just wanted to say that I think it's a really strong combination in general. You have a lot of different ways to play the character, which is always a nice thing. You're not locked into like, oh, you have to take 3 levels of this and X levels of that or whatever. You can really just like mix and match and play it in whatever proportions you wanted, which is really nice. I feel like there's really not a lot of dead levels for either one. Like, there's so many good levels in the first half, and then even if you took a lot of rogue levels, you're still scaling up that sneak attack. If you took more bard levels, you're scaling up that spell casting. I think like something like a bard combined with Arcane Trickster is not the worst choice, giving you a few more spells from that like wizard spell list that you could have taken with a bit more spell casting progression. It's not a lot because you're only a third caster as an Arcane Trickster, but it does open you up to, some cantrips potentially, and, something like Find Familiar, of course, which is a great spell. So I feel like there's just a lot of good ways to do it. I feel like all the subclasses have something really to offer. Like even like something like a Lore Bard, just the extra 3 skills combined with the fact that you're trying to make a character that's good at a lot of skills. That's a huge win right there. And then adding in a couple magical secrets at as early as 6th level, that's just pure win in my opinion. So I really feel like it's a strong combination of classes. And the fact that the Bard manages to do all this while also being a pure caster, it really makes it one of the most versatile classes in the entire game. And then adding like cunning action to that level of versatility is pretty insane, honestly. So those are my thoughts. Feel free to like, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, all that stuff. And as always, please leave me your comments in the comment section. I'm sure there's a million things that I overlooked or didn't mention because there's so much you can do with this combination of classes. I'd love to hear about people who are like, hey, I'm actually playing a Bard Rogue multi-class build right now, and this is what I did, and this is what I've been liking, or I wish I would have done things slightly different, like this, or whatever. I love reading everybody else's stories about their characters and what they tried to do. So, feel free to leave those comments, feel free to like, subscribe, everything else like I already said, and I'll see you next time in the dungeon. Bye.